This is another iRaw podcast.
So since rejection was the reason that I wanted to quit, I'm like, I'm gonna face this head on. So I'm like, I'm gonna get rejected 1,000 times. So I'm like, it's a high number. But I was like, at the end, then I can leave if I want to, but I have to like commit to this 1,000 thing.
Welcome to Wildly Unplug, sharing stories of nature, conservation, and creativity. Discover what develops when you unplug and step outdoors.
Gabby, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me.
I am so curious to pick your brain because I was just randomly scrolling a couple weeks ago and you were somewhere in the middle of, I forget how many rejections, and you were explaining about what, I'm on a mission to get 1,000 rejections. And I'm like, ooh, this sounds interesting. And I am now in week 3 of my own 1,000 challenge. And I want to know what was happening in your life that decided you're like, I need to start doing 1,000.
So it was like September and I was like failing. I wasn't booking any acting auditions. I was losing followers. Like my business stuff wasn't going well. And I'm like, I want to give up. But I was like, I want to push it to the end of the year, try some more. So I was like, I need something to keep me accountable. So since rejection was the reason that I wanted to quit, I'm like, I'm gonna face this head on. So I'm like, I'm gonna get rejected 1,000 times. So I'm like, it's a high number. But I was like, at the end, then I can leave if I want to. But I have to like commit to this 1,000 thing.
So you specifically went with 1,000 because it's a high number.
Yeah, I was like, I want to know that I really tried.
Okay. Because when I was first inspired by your clip, I'm like, I'll do 100. And I'm like, no, you know what? I'm all in. I'm going to try 1,000 too.
It's taking a long time to get there, I'll admit that.
Because you said it was September of 2025
Yes,
that you
yeah.
started. Okay. So you're about 6 months in or so, or a little bit
Yeah.
longer.
And I'm
Okay.
only like at 250 rejections, so it's like taking a while.
Yeah. Okay. I am so curious about what rules you have set up for yourself. Like, how long do you wait until you don't hear back from someone before you're like, okay, that's a rejection? How many do you do a week? Like, how do you keep yourself accountable?
I think my only like hard and fast rule is that I can't quit. And it's like also a no isn't a no until it's actually like a no. And so a lot of mine are hard because I don't hear back. And so if it's professional, like if I'm trying to work with a brand, then I will email them. I say at least 2 to 3 times after the first initial email. And then if I haven't heard back, then I'll consider that a no. But for some things like acting auditions, I can assume that by the time the like project has come around, obviously they didn't pick me to shoot. So then that becomes a no.
Yeah, as an artist, if I'm submitting for a contest or something, and a lot of times you don't hear back and you just have to look it up and you're like, oh, they went with this person.
Yeah.
And rejections, I don't know about other fields, but as an artist, and I'm assuming as an actor too, you put your heart and soul into what you're doing, and the rejection feels that much harder. Do you find that to
Yeah.
be true?
Yeah, because it's not, oh, they just rejected my like project proposal or something. It's no, they rejected who I am as a person because they just didn't like me. And that's not always true, but it feels that way for sure.
Yeah. And the very first week I did this, I instantly noticed that I didn't take the rejection quite as hard. And I also noticed that I was standing up for myself a little bit more. Like I set some personal boundaries with a family member that I would normally kind of cower at. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to count that as a rejection.
That's amazing. Yeah, I don't know, I feel if you make it a game almost, or if you go into something with a mindset of I'm gonna get rejected, it all of a sudden changes like how you handle it if you do get rejected.
It's also, I've noticed, because I had one rejection last week for a t-shirt contest where I submitted some artwork, and it meant a lot to me if I did get it. And I took it really hard, and I took a couple days break, and I'm like, I need to get out of this rut and keep going. And
Mhm.
then I noticed once I started going again, I felt so much better.
Yeah, it's like almost one thing distracts you from the other if you have so many things that you're putting out there at one time. But there have been
Yeah.
definitely been things that I was like, I really want this. Like, I don't care about anything else. Like, I want this. And then you don't get it. And it's like, it really does hurt.
Yeah. No, you've got your little notebook. Is that the only way you're keeping track? Is it starting to get difficult?
Technically, right now, it's the only way. I do have on like on my phone in the notes app. I have a list of just the yeses, just because the yeses are spread out through my notebook. So this is one concise way that I can see the yeses. But people have asked me for online things, and I'm like, it's literally just in my paper notebook. And so far, I've still kept track of it pretty easily. So I should switch
That's
to
good.
online, like a spreadsheet or something to be more detailed. But the notebook's fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I like it's a very iconic thing to see every time. You should like mass produce these.
I
And I love in your very first video, you're writing no, and you're like, oh, wait, I need to add an S to
know.
it.
Yeah, this
You're
is
like,
a lot.
yeah. Have you noticed any growth or change in yourself so far?
I think so. I feel like I've always been a confident person socially, but I feel like now I'm a more confident person when it comes to chasing my dreams and just knowing my worth. And also, I've become more persistent in putting myself out there and in not letting the no's or rejection stop me as much.
What has been your biggest surprise so far?
I was trying to be a content creator at the 2026 Winter Olympics, and I only started reaching out like a month before. So everyone was like, you're too late, which totally made sense. But then one of my followers was like, hey, I live in Italy. You can come stay with me. So I went anyways.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it was like just so surprising.
And you're putting yourself out there. And if you had not, like, you were talking about that on social media.
Yeah, like I just posted a video of I'm gonna try to get rejected, and I like said that I emailed all these brands and DM'd the Olympic accounts and everything. And she saw that and she's like,
If you didn't put that out there for anybody to see, you wouldn't have.
yeah, no.
Was it pretty amazing to go?
Oh yeah, it was like a lifetime. I don't know. I'm obsessed with the Olympics, so it's like I want to go to all of them. So it's just so cool, and Italy was just insane.
Yeah, I bet. And your first 10 or 20 rejections, was that difficult? Did you find yourself in the old patterns or yeah, like how was that like for you?
I think it was hard because I had been rejected before, obviously, but this time I was actually like tracking it and being more aware and obvious of it. And so I was like, wow, I get rejected a lot. Like, I don't know if I can keep doing this all the way to 1,000. But then a few yeses pop in, and you're like, wait a second, there's opportunity out there for me.
Hmm. I was watching, it was on YouTube and it was a news clip where you were talking to, I forget which news company it was, but I don't know. I felt as if they were taking it very negatively. They're like, don't you find that really depressing? And I was just like, I don't know. I guess I saw a quote earlier this week, and it's you, if you don't ask, the answer is always going to be no. So I'm trying to like reframe my mindset to there's infinite no's in front of me right now. But if I'm going after some of these no's, they might become a yes.
Yeah, it's like that you miss 100% of the shots like you don't take. You might have a 99% chance of not making it, but like the moment you try, you at least give yourself a chance. Whereas if you don't
Yeah.
try, you're never gonna make it for that thing.
Yeah. I think what you're doing is so important too, because with social media, everybody just sees like the final success, or a lot of times people just post all the good things that are happening in their life. You're posting the rejections and you're making it very real. Have you noticed other people are relating to that and appreciating what you're doing?
Oh yeah, I've had like hundreds and thousands of comments and DMs of people joining in and people being like, "Oh, I needed to see this. I didn't realize I was scared of rejection." And I posted about it, I think, to be accountable, but also it made it more real to be like, "Hey, like I'm not just keeping my rejections personal, like I'm bearing myself open and being like, look how many times I'm getting rejected." And the internet received it very well.
Yeah. That's good. Except for you posted something and you're like, my friend said this, that, and the other, and I'm like, oh my gosh, how dare this person? You should not be friends with them. And you're like, and I'm talking about myself, and I'm like, wow, that hit hard. That I think people can relate to that. We talk the worst to ourselves.
I know. Yeah, and I feel like it's gotten a bit better since I started this journey, but I feel like I'm still my own like worst enemy and worst critic.
I think it was week 2, and when I was digging in and applying, sometimes I feel like a kid in the candy store, like, I want this and this, and like, the world is my oyster. And then I had this thought, like, what if everybody says yes? And then I can't do it all. And I'm like, what if I'm afraid of success too? Have you noticed that?
Yeah, and I've gotten that question a lot. There's a few questions that I keep getting over, and that's one of them. People are like, what if you get too many yeses and you don't know how to handle them? And I'm like, I guess that's the best case scenario. That's a great problem to have. But there have definitely been a few things where I've been caught up time-wise with certain yeses that I'm definitely falling behind in other aspects of my life. So I've just slowed down with the trying to get rejected part during those moments.
When you initially started, I know you said you were trying to get to the end of the year, but did you have an initial, oh, by the end of 2026 or whatever, I want to be done with 1,000? Or are you just going with the flow with that?
For when I started, my goal was to finish it in 4 months. So by the end of 2025, I was like, I'm either going to keep going with my dreams or I'm going to quit. And I'm going to be at 1,000 rejections. And I was only at 86. So
Wow.
I don't even think I'll get there this year either, which is fine.
It's okay. It gives us more chances to
Yeah.
catch up on what you're doing and see how you're doing. Oh gosh. And then do you have any big like celebration or plan for when you've reached 1,000?
I don't know. My hope is that by the time I've reached it, like my dreams are really closer to where I want to be, but I should do something. Maybe I'll go on a cruise. I don't know. I'll probably plan a trip or something like special because it's weird to celebrate 1,000 rejections, but I think it's like cool.
It is because you put yourself out there 1,000 times,
Mhm.
more than 1,000
Yeah.
times, because some of them said yes.
Yeah.
I think that's great. Now, do you tell people when you're applying for things like, because I know when I reached out to you and I emailed you, I'm like, hey, I'm doing 1,000. So if you say no, like it's a win-win either way. But I am glad that you said yes. But do you let people know that you're reaching for 1,000 goal or 1,000 rejections?
It's so funny you said that because so many people, when they've reached out, DM'd or emailed me, they've said the same thing where they're like, this is my first rejection. And I'm like, okay, I have to respond to you now because like I want this to be a yes. I will sometimes tell them and sometimes not because like I was trying to get to Coachella in the Olympics. And so then I did say, hey, I'm trying to get rejected 1,000 times because I feel like it's something random and unique that when people hear it, they're like, whoa, that's different than like everything else we see on the internet. But then other times, like one time I was reaching out to 100 walking pad brands, and I'm like, I don't want to tell them that I'm reaching out to 100 other walking pad brands, because then it's cheesy and they're not special. So it depends
Mm-hmm.
on the situation if I say it or not.
That I reached out to a couple art companies in the same day, and I thought they had nothing to do with each other because I thought they were competing paper companies. And the same customer service person emailed me back. And I told her in both, I'm like, I'm trying to get 1,000 rejections, so no big deal. And she put me in the system, so I might hear back, but that was an awkward moment. Yeah, I'm like, I'm not trying to like spam everybody, but
But it's like a numbers game too. So
it really is. It is. Because you're right. You have to ask and find out.
yeah, because if you are trying to get something and you only reach out to one person and hope, like you can't pin all your hopes on one person or brand or business.
Yeah, you can't put all your eggs in one
No.
basket. Yeah. So I also wanted to ask, do you count safe asks? If you, I don't know, ask a friend something random, you're like, yeah, I know they're going to say no. Do you count that?
I don't think so. I think it's only if there's a chance and I'm pretty sure I'm not going to get it, I count for it. And I think most of the rejection things I've counted are like more stuff that relates to like business or career wise, not as much like
Mm.
personal things. Because I want this to be like trying to push myself.
Further your career.
Yeah.
What's been your hardest no so far?
I probably some of the acting auditions. And I know that for acting, they're like for every like so many no's, you get like you book one thing. But sometimes I'm like, I nailed that. Like that was amazing. And then I never hear back. And I'm like, that would have been so
Mm.
cool.
Yeah. I find as an artist, and you said a couple times that you don't hear back from an audition. And as an artist, I have to pay a lot of times for my submissions, and you're paying with your
Oh.
time if you're not even paying for an actual audition. But it would be nice to at least hear, I didn't choose you because, so you get a little bit of feedback and to help you grow a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. We just wanted someone taller, older, younger. This, like, some half of the time it's not even about you. But it still would be nice to know, hey, we wish you were or we wish you acted a little. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you had a rejection that kind of just made you question everything and I don't want to keep going? And if you get to that point, what keeps you going?
I will say that it wasn't that deep, but like I did reach out to 100 walking pad brands to see if I could work together, and they all like half of them never responded, and then the other half were like no, or they came back with like offers that were, like I couldn't do at all. And I was like, I reached out to 100. Like you would think that even if 1% worked out, that one of them would have worked, but they literally all failed. And I'm like,
Mm,
okay, maybe I'm being too over ambitious. Maybe I'm not cut out, especially like content creator, influencer wise for that. So sometimes I'll just go outside, take a break, just I don't know. I feel like there's so many things that I'm working on in my life. So even if certain things are failing, my focus then turns a bit to like my bookstagram or my sticker business or acting. Like I'll just turn to something else that I'm doing to help me focus on something else for a bit.
that's a positive way to look at it. When they tell you like, oh, you can't do this original thing that you asked, but you can do something else instead. If you like the offer, would you count that as like accepted? Or if you didn't like the offer, would you count that as a rejection?
If I didn't like the offer, I count it as a rejection. And if I like the offer, I've sometimes counted it as a yes, depending on, I guess, how close or far it is from the original goal. Because I'm like, all those Olympic places rejected me, but a girl hosting me wasn't something I tried, but it still wouldn't have happened if I hadn't put myself out there, and it was still such a random, crazy thing. So I considered that a yes, even though that wasn't something that I officially asked for.
Interesting. Now, there have been a couple times in my life where I'm like, I really want this certain thing. And then it's not until sometimes maybe even years later that I look back and I'm like, oh, that is why I did not get that yes at that time. And I'm like, thank God that didn't happen. Have you had any of those moments yet where you're like, that's why I didn't get that yes, and that's why I got rejected, and that it worked out in my favor?
I definitely, like, for my acting agency that I'm with right now, I actually applied to them 3 times before I actually got in. So I definitely know, like, I wasn't as experienced the first 2 times. And I also, like, my resume wasn't as expansive as it is right now. So I definitely know, like, that. And then sometimes with the influencer content creator things that I apply for, I see that, like, the media kit or how I applied to them the first, or how I reached out to them and presented myself the first time wasn't as professional or wasn't as the best way to showcase myself as I can now. So I've definitely seen like my skills improve and be like, oh, if I had like now if I tried, it might be a different outcome for some of these things.
Good. And then you mentioned sticker business. Tell me a little bit more about that.
I started this during, I think, like a year or two after COVID because I was like bored and that's when everyone had started all their small businesses. So I was like, I'm gonna design stickers and I'm a terrible artist, but I love drawing on my iPad. So I make and sell stickers for fun. It's cool.
What kind of stickers do you do?
I do everything. I do from like faith to quotes to like outer space to literally whatever's on my mind. I'm just like, I'm gonna make a sticker for this. And I do a lot of Colorado ones.
Nice. Did you say Colorado?
Yeah, Colorado.
Okay.
Like
Is that
mountains.
nice? Is that where you're from?
I'm from Texas, but I live in Colorado now. So I make Colorado and Texas ones because they both are
Very
pretty
nice.
popular.
Yeah. My son was just in Colorado 2 weeks ago. He loved it.
Oh, it's a beautiful state. Like we have snow today, which is crazy.
Really?
Yeah.
What is the temperature?
Alexa, what's the temperature? It's 35 degrees.
35. That's also the first time that Alexa has ever appeared on the show. So thank you for that. That's awesome. I don't know that I could do 35 in April.
And it's crazy because this has been such a warm year. Like we had like 70s, 80s, and I think even a day in the 90s in March,
Wow.
whereas we can still have snow up until May. So snow in April is can happen. It's just weird because it's been so warm.
Yeah. Oof. What is your biggest goal, or do you think you've even attempted to start thinking about your biggest goal?
I know like long term, like I want to do, and I'm already a full-time content creator, but definitely bring up my income and then definitely book more acting roles. I want to be a voiceover actor, so I'm working on that. Like to book like a kids TV show or something would be so cool. And then I also want to travel the world and make content and work with hotels and tourism boards. Like I know I want to do all that. For right now, it's taking the steps. I will say 100K was like that was one of my big goals, and I wasn't expecting to hit that. So I was like, oh, like I achieved that very early on in January or February.
Yeah, that's awesome. Congrats.
Thank you.
That is cool. It also, by putting your goals down, it's not really a vision board, but you're mentally like, okay, here are my goals, here are the things I want to do, and you're taking steps to get there.
Yeah, because like I always had like big dreams, but I would never actually like fully write them down or post about them. But now, especially for 2026, I was like, here are some things I want to get rejected from for 2026. So as the calendar rolls around to those events, I'm like, oh, like I need to try. Whereas before, I never would have thought, I would have been like, I'm never actually going to make it to that thing. So why bother even putting myself out there?
I reached out to, oh gosh, it was National Geographic and Outdoor Magazine and Josh Gates. And I'm like, I'm never going to hear from like Josh Gates, but it's fun to even try.
And you always hear those random stories of like big brands and companies like finding that one passionate person and being like, oh, we're gonna make their dreams come true, and they do respond, and it's oh,
Yeah.
like that could be me or us.
Now, you've worked with a couple big brands. What's been your, I don't know, like dream come true brand that you've worked with so far?
I think DoorDash. I'm working with DoorDash right now. And so like when I saw their email, I was in Italy and I'm like, this isn't true. This is a spam. Because like you get big brands or like spam people pretending to be big brands. So I'm like, this isn't real. And then I was reading it. I was like, oh my gosh. And then I also just did one with Book of the Month. And it's I love to read and I have a bookstagram, but like this brand deal was for my Gracefully Gabby account. And so it was just crazy that like people have teased me for reading and now it's like my love for reading is like making me money, which is just crazy.
Neat. Yeah. You can't don't listen to people making fun of you. You have to do what makes you passionate.
I know.
That's awesome. I'm glad that you brought up spam because the week I started the 1,000 rejection challenge for myself, I started my week with a spam and I had submitted some art a couple years back and they're like, congratulations, you've been accepted. And I'm like, I didn't submit this year, but maybe they're using, I've heard of people using older stuff if they don't have enough submissions or whatever. And I clicked on the link and it's not working. And I emailed them and I didn't hear back. And I'm like, wait a second, let me actually check because they had the logo, they had the name, they had everything right. And it was like a .org instead of a .com or something like
Mm.
that. And it turned out to be spam. So I'm like, am I crazy to start reaching out to 1,000 different people the same week I've been spam? But what do you do to help guard yourself against that kind of stuff?
I say I'm very careful, like first with who I give my email to, but also I guess my email's in my bio so anybody can get it, but no clicking any links before I know anything. And like I especially when I get an email that I'm even slightly unsure about, like I'll copy and paste that email into Google and see. Because oftentimes other people who have gotten the same thing will talk about it, or on TikTok too. You can look it up and people will be like, oh my gosh, like I got this email. And I'm like, okay, I got that email too. It's definitely a spam. But it's very
Mm,
scary in this day and age.
it really is. They're getting better and better at that kind of stuff. Once you reach 1,000 rejections, depending on, I guess, how the next half or a third goes for you, do you think you're going to start over or just keep going? Or
I think I'll
how do you,
probably keep going. Unless I failed so terribly, then I'll go quit and go do something else with my life. But hopefully I'll just, I don't know if I'd push it to 10,000, but maybe I'll just keep counting and not put a number at the end that I'm trying to get to. But I think it's cool to just track them.
it is. I am very much a numbers person and I have to keep track. Otherwise, I just get absorbed in the negative.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you think that you'll write a book about your experience?
I might. I don't know. A bunch of people have told me they're like, you should. And I was like, okay. I feel like there's still so much more. Like, it's only been a few months, so there's still so much more I want to experience and learn. But it would be cool. So maybe I should start a journal about like my thoughts and feelings right now.
Yeah, you have an online journal with all your
That's
posts.
true.
It's already led you to Italy and you've been on the news and all these different places. I think that would be really, I would read that book.
Okay.
Maybe even they'll make a movie out of it. And then you can act as yourself.
You're so funny.
What are some things you asked for that you were like, I can't believe I've asked that, or why did I even think to ask that? Like anything random and crazy?
I feel like the Olympics was crazy. Because I was like, yeah, that was a dream of mine. But at the same time, I'm like, who do I think I am? Like, they're pulling like news reporters and like influencers with tens of millions of followers. Who do I think I'm marching up here? Okay, let me ask for that. And then I know there have been some other like random ones, but none that I can think of off the top of my head. Oh, I work with I'm like a pageant queen. And so one thing, like the court wasn't full. So I wasn't even a pageant queen yet, but I saw that the court wasn't full and that like the one from my age group was open. So I just sent them a DM on Instagram. I'm like, "Hey, are y'all still looking for an inaugural queen?" And I'm like, I just sent them a DM. It wasn't like anything professional or email. And they got back to me and said yes. So that was like so random and oddball. And then we were doing like a service day with that pageant organization. And my goal, I was supposed to bring 100 toothpaste and toothbrushes. So I literally went and asked like all the dentists and orthodontist places in my town if any of them would be willing to donate. And I was able to raise like 700 something like products.
Wow,
But I was like, what am I doing?
that is great.
Yeah, it was just so random.
Yeah, I love that. Do you have an aerial moment? I call it an aerial moment where I've written an email or like a proposal and I'm like, I can't believe I'm about to do this. And I like hit it. And so I'm like not looking and I'm like, oh my God, it's sent. I can't unsend it now.
Yeah. Yeah, I think for some of the things, like I have just some crazy outreach ones out there that I know I'm not gonna get. So as I'm doing them, I'm just like, I'm gonna send this. Yeah.
Is there been anybody, you said you've heard from a couple people that they're inspired to do this too. Is there anybody like friends or family that were inspired by you?
A lot of my mom's friends were inspired. Like before the whole challenge went viral, when I started doing it in September, some of my mom's friends were already reaching out to my mom and being like, "We've started the challenge because of Gabby." And I was like, "Oh."
Aww.
And then I've had a few friends also feel like inspired by it and do it. And I'm like, that's just crazy.
That is really cool. You've started something, you started a movement.
It's so weird.
What, I guess I should ask, what's the next big thing for you right now?
I definitely think getting into the travel section more, like I'm definitely going to start emailing and reaching out to a bunch of like tourism boards and hotels and resorts and cruises to see if I can work with them. And I think the next big crazy thing is there's the new Spider-Man movie comes out in July, and I love Spider-Man. So I want to see if I can go to that premiere. So that'll be, I don't know, I would die, but like I have no idea how to do that. But
That would be incredible. I will be thinking about you and hoping that you get it.
like I have my outfit picked out already. Like I'm ready to go.
Yes. That's gonna, I'm very excited for that one. It's gonna be a good movie, I think.
Oh yeah.
I'm so excited. Now, how can people find you?
So on Instagram and TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, and Pinterest, I'm Gracefully Gabby. And then on Snapchat, I'm like Gabriella X Carr. And then on TikTok, I'm also Gabby's 1000 Notes.
Okay. And I will be sure to tag that in the description so listeners can just hop right over and check you out. And before we go, what is one tip that you have for someone that would like to reconnect with nature? I know we talked a little bit about nature. We got to tie it back around a little bit.
I think I'd say find something that works for you. Like, you don't have to be some big person who loves to hike or go swimming or any of that. But even if it's just sitting outside in your backyard, reading a book, or just going on a walk or a hike or just whatever. I don't know. I love nature, but I'm terrified of bugs. So for me, like I love going to lakes and just going on bike rides and swimming.
That is good advice. Thank you so much, Gabby. And congratulations on starting your challenge and getting your nose. And also, I can't wait to see where this leads you in the end. And again, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, and I'm excited to see that too, and I'm excited to see where your journey takes you as well.
Thank you. And until next time, unplug, get outside, and see what develops.
Wildly Unplugged podcast is a production of Wild Development Studio. The views, opinions, and statements expressed by individuals during Wild Development Studio's productions do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of Wild Development Studio or its affiliates. Participation in any activities, expeditions, or adventures discussed or promoted during our content may involve inherent risks. It is strongly advised that individuals conduct thorough research, seek professional guidance, and take all necessary precautions before engaging in such activities or venturing into wilderness areas. Wild Development Studio, its representatives, or employees shall not be held responsible for any injury, loss, damage, accident, or unforeseen incident that may occur as a result of participating in activities inspired by or discussed in our content. By choosing to engage with our content or act upon any information provided, individuals do so at their own risk and discretion.
For more great iRaw podcasts, visit irawpod.com. That's IROARPOD.com.